Hey, good morning, everybody. Hey, after 3 decades in the business, I've seen investors win big and lose hard. The difference comes down to strategy, timing, and who you listen to. Hey, my mission is to give you the tools to grow smarter and avoid the mistakes that people make that take you out of the game. Hey, I'm Mike Morowski. I am your multifamily bounce back coach. This is the Mic Drop Show, and I am here every Wednesday morning. Hope that your week is going well and that things are coming along. We're just coming off of us doing the multifamily summit. We had 2 days last week, Thursday and Friday, that was just completely awesome. And we had 20 speakers, 20 panelists, and some of the content was just unbelievable. We opened up day one with Jay LaGuardia, Dr. Jay LaGuardia, who talked about mindset and how to stay in the game. Moving along, we had panels on raising capital. I had a panel of individuals on that have over $10 billion in assets under management. We had 2 days of just real impact. These speakers all came, shared their time and their gift with everybody who attended the event just to pour into them. One of the things that really stood out to me was Hunter Thompson when he spoke about raising capital and how to go about that in today's marketplace and some of the tools with AI out there that we can be using. So there was a lot of great content. And speakers. We had speakers on that talked about self-directed IRA, cost segregation. Our sponsor, Cost Segregation Services Incorporated, CSSI, Kevin Cawley did an awesome job. We had Michelle Fitzpatrick on who talked about 1031 exchange. It was just really a good 2 days. And after doing this now for 6 years and what we've learned along the way on how to continue to deliver great content for you, great information for you. I'm glad that you're here. So take a minute, like us, love us, subscribe to our channel. If you're on YouTube, subscribe there. Follow us on Instagram. We are always bringing great content. I do want to talk about an event that I have coming up. And next Saturday, a week, November 1st, the day after Halloween, I'm going to be doing a master class. And that master class, I'm going to be talking about how to buy real estate with little or no money down. When I first got in the business, the first seminar I ever went to was a seminar about that. And I had no money, no credit, no experience, no knowledge in the real estate business. And I went to a half day event, went to a weekend seminar, and the seminar was over on Sunday. On Monday, I went out and I bought a piece of real estate. I put $1,000 down and the owner held the paper on the rest. Well, what I've learned over the years of doing multiple deals like that, where I have bought um, single family, small multifamily, all the way up to 400 unit apartment complexes with little or no money down, is one simple technique. One technique that will help change the way that you look at real estate today and the way that you buy real estate. So this is a free master class that I'm going to be doing. Drop a comment, DM me, and we'll get you a pass to that event coming up. I look forward to seeing you there. Every week I'm here. I either have a live guest with me, or I take audience questions that have been asked throughout the week or over the last couple of weeks. And what's interesting is the questions that have been coming up lately about interest rates, about markets, and things like that. But one of the things I really want to talk about is market cycles and where we're at in the market cycle. I always say there's no geniuses in this business, there's only market cycles. And where we're at in the market cycle right now is a place that I've said for the last 3 decades. Boy, if I could just get in just before the market changes, because if you wait and you wait until mainstream media says, hey, the markets have changed and things are happening and the market is more robust in the real estate space, you've missed the first 2 years of the growth. And markets go up for 8 to 10 years, they come down for 8 to 10 years. And I have a graph very descriptive about this. If you want to see it, DM me and I'll get a copy of that sent to you. But we are on the downside of the cycle, and we're probably 4 years into that downside. And I really feel that we're going to have a short cycle here. I had Travis Watts on my summit last week, and Travis and I actually just did a webinar yesterday that you can get your hands on. But we talked a lot about where the markets are, where we're at in the market cycle, and why. It's fundamentals, right? So you can't listen to what everybody else is saying. You have to look at what's going on. It's the actions and the activity in the marketplace today that is causing us to look differently. But when you see groups, and one of the comments that one of my good friends always makes that I love is, do what the smart money is doing. Go where the smart money is going. And if you look at Blackstone, Blackstone's deployed $10 billion into the real estate business to buy multifamily assets. You've got Warren Buffett, who's jumping into the real estate business. You have Jeff Bezos, who's looking for his entry into the real estate space right now. So when you start to look at smart money and big money and what they're doing, and you start to follow those trends, it's like when I first got in the real estate business. One of the things I did was that I was able to go and model and learn from some of the top real estate agents in the country. And I followed exactly what they did and their systems, their techniques. And over time, I adopted those. They became part of me, they became part of my DNA. That's why when I sold residential real estate, I was able to go out and sell 125 listings a year because I was a listing agent. I focused solely on that and I built my business around that. And you can do the same thing. But you know what? You follow what other successful people are doing. Even if people have made mistakes, and I've made a number of mistakes over the years in my career and my business, and those mistakes have shaped me to do what I do today. And those are the things that you can learn from. So if follow the smart money right now, look at some of the other fundamentals. Look at where GDP is. GDP's is high. You've got inflation that's low. You have interest rates that are starting to come down. And the feds now have announced that when they meet here in October, that they are going to be reducing rates again. It's anticipated that maybe 50 basis points. This is starting to shake up the market. This is starting to get investors who are true investors, big money investors, active in the marketplace. I have a good friend who's been in the multifamily business for many years, like myself. And he is, their group right now are underwriting very large portfolios and looking like they've raised some very large amounts of equity in order to deploy and buy some of these larger assets. So, when I look around me and I look at what people are doing, um, and the people that are sitting on the sidelines, not making decisions because there's fear and trepidation in their life, you have to move on from that. If you're a passive investor, I couldn't think of a better time in history to get involved in the real estate business right now. As a passive investor, you get to deploy money, put it in an asset. Somebody else, a good qualified sponsor, runs and operates that multifamily asset, and you get to receive the benefits. And this first next several months may be a little bit difficult as we climb into that up cycle, but once we hit it, it's going to be like, the long part of the hockey stick, and then it's going to shoot up. You don't know when that's going to happen, but if you're involved when it starts to happen, we're going to see right now one of the greatest distributions of wealth in this country that we've seen in many, many years. And my question to you is, are you someone who wants to take advantage of that? Are you someone who wants to participate in that? Because now is the time to start looking at it. If you're an active investor or somebody who's wanted to jump in the real estate business, this is a great time. When I was in the residential space for many years, I did a lot of buy and hold real estate. we did a lot of fix and flip real estate. We actually transacted over 200 homes over that period of time. And I learned many different strategies and techniques for doing that. And what I did gain from that is I gained a new knowledge and concept of those market cycles and that timing. So if you're looking for that edge, if you're looking for what makes sense, hey, reach out to me. I'd love to have a conversation with you. If you have questions, specific questions about maybe anything I've talked about this morning or anything we've talked about on our previous episodes, hey, don't hesitate to reach out. I want to be there to give you that input. I was on the phone yesterday with someone who was at the multifamily summit, and we were having a great conversation about the market cycles. And he was a newer investor, somebody getting ready to go in the business, and he said, why is now the time? And I said, well, it's the fundamentals. If you look at the fundamentals, and there's charts out there that you can look at that will take you back 30 years. And if you look at some of the statistics where we were at in the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, when the market was coming, dipping in and out. And one of the other big things we're seeing right now is we're seeing concessions on a multifamily start to burn off. And those concessions are what you have to give tenants when they move in to a place in order to keep your occupancy up. But now occupancy is growing because of the housing shortage. It's all coming together again. We're starting to see those concessions burn off. So those fundamentals are there, that underlying foundation that says now is the time. So I would ask you, what do you want to accomplish? What are your own personal goals in your life financially? And not even just financially, but where do you want to be physically, mentally, spiritually? Every year I do a goal setting and business planning event, and we're just starting to talk about that right now. And I'm either going to do that just before the end of the year or right at the beginning of next year. But just watch for that, because that'll be a great event that we do every year. But I want you to start thinking about where we're at, or where you're at, mentally, emotionally, physically, relationally, and what changes would you like to make? What growth have you seen this year from yourself, and how do you maybe push yourself to go to the next level? I think one of the key words today could be focus, right? What are you focused on? And whatever we focus on, we tend to receive and believe and accept, right? But if you're focused on the negative stuff that's happening or the news is saying, that's what you're going to get more of. But if you're focused on the positive fundamentals, the positive things that we see, the gratitude in your life and where we're headed, things are going to be different for you. So if you're sick of being stuck where you're at, and you're sick of this market that we're in, and you want to see things change, they're only going to change because you change, and because you start to make an effort, make a difference, to be different and to make a change. I think one of the things I tell all my coaching clients often is that none of us grow professionally unless we grow personally. And I don't care if you're new getting into the multifamily business and you're learning all the systems and the 30 or 40 different things that happen in a multifamily acquisition and through operations, or if you're somebody that knows all that already, you're in a C-suite of a company, you're building your company. You know what? Everybody needs a coach. Everybody needs a coach in their life, because we get to these places where we need some discernment. I have a coaching client that I work with, more on the personal side, right? Because he's trying to grow more personally, because we really know that when he grows personally, he's going to grow professionally. And I've been working with him a lot lately about how to get his thoughts. When you're a visionary, when you're a forward thinker, when you're an A type personality, what tends to happen is you get scattered. You want to do this, you want to do this, you want to do this. And you can do all of that, but how do you just bring it all to one place to be able to really concentrate and focus on what makes sense? And we're working on techniques together to help get him there. It's been an interesting few months with him. And if you're somebody like that, if you're somebody who's like, wow, I'm scattered, I got a lot going on, how do I bring it to focus? Let's have a conversation. Let me see if I can maybe give you a couple of tips or pointers that could help. So reach out, ask your questions. We might answer your questions. I had a few questions today that I didn't even get to. We'll talk about these next week, but I just felt like I just needed to ramble about a couple of things today. So I hope some of what I've said resonates with you. The big message here is get off the sidelines. Go do something, take some action, because now is the time. Don't get left behind, get caught in this part of the cycle that's going to help your business grow, help you grow. Remember, coming up November 1st, my free masterclass on how to buy real estate with little or no money down. I'm going to teach one technique that's going to help you be able to build your business. Part of where we're at in the market cycle right now is a very big opportunity to be able to buy real estate creatively, to do creative financing. You may have heard of subject to, you may have heard of owner financing, of land contracts, rent to own. You know what? I have one simple technique that I have used over and over again. It's a timeless technique. It's a system that works for you. Hey, register for the class. Get there. It's going to be a 2-hour master class. We're going to go over, where do you find properties? How do you vet out sellers? Where do you find motivated sellers? What's a motivated seller look like? What type of offer can I create? I'm going to teach my one technique, my one system that works over and over again. Last year I used this technique. I bought a 65 unit multifamily property. And I'm just going to tell you the overarching fundamentals. The owner's holding $1 million in a second note on the property, and he's holding it at no interest and no payments for 10 years. Right. No interest, no payments for 10 years. Now, how would you like to structure deals like that you could get into and control that real estate? Real estate ownership's more about control than it is about ownership. So the link is going to be in the show notes, how to register. If you are looking for that link, don't hesitate to reach out. We'll send you it, get you subscribed. I'm going to provide scripts. I'm going to provide fundamentals. I'm going to provide systems. I'm going to give you a lot of knowledge in 2 hours that you're going to be able to walk away with and say, wow, this has been awesome. So I look forward to seeing you on November 1st. Before that, I'll see you next Wednesday here for the Mic Drop Show. That's it. That's a wrap for today. I'm Mike Morawski, your multifamily bounce back coach. We're here to support you, help teach you, help you grow and take your business to the next level. Everybody have a great week, and I look forward to talking to you soon.